There is an order to things, and when you learn to trust that timing, you free yourself from so much unnecessary stress. Imagine a young artist who dreams of making a name for themselves. They work tirelessly, pouring their heart into their craft, but they're not seeing the recognition they want. At this point, they have two choices. They can either become frustrated, lose faith, and give up, or they can trust that every brushstroke, every piece of work, is preparing them for something greater, even if they can't see it yet. Those who trust the process keep going, and eventually they find themselves exactly where they're meant to be. We live in a culture of instant gratification. Fast food, fast information, fast success. We've been conditioned to believe that if something doesn't happen quickly, it's not worth waiting for. But some things must take time. Relationships, personal growth, mastering a skill, all of these require patience. Socrates once said, "To do is to be." This means that growth is in the process, not just the outcome. If you're always focused on when something will happen, you miss out on who you are becoming along the way. But here's the tricky part. How do you stay patient when you feel like nothing is happening? The Stoics would say, focus on what's in your control. You can't control the timing, but you can control your actions. You can keep showing up, keep putting in the work, keep growing as a person. And most importantly, you can trust that if something is meant for you, it will come. Not a second too early or too late. One of the greatest lessons Stoicism teaches is the power of acceptance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds." Life has a strange way of teaching us lessons. The more we try to control every little detail, the outcomes, the timing, the way people respond, the more frustrated and exhausted we become. We plan our lives down to the smallest steps, thinking that if we just try harder, push more, and never let go, things will finally fall into place. But what if I told you that the opposite is true? That the moment you stop forcing, stop grasping, and start trusting, everything begins to flow effortlessly. It's not about giving up, it's about understanding where your power truly lies. The Stoics mastered this way of thinking centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius once wrote about the importance of accepting what comes naturally and not wasting energy fighting against reality. He understood that struggling against things beyond our control only leads to suffering. The real battle is always within, training the mind to focus on what can be shaped and letting go of the rest. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. The mindset shift that can transform the way you approach success, relationships, and even your own peace of mind. Because if you're constantly stressed, feeling like no matter what you do, things just don't seem to go your way, there's a reason for that. You might be holding on too tightly to things that aren't meant to be controlled in the first place. This video isn't just another self-improvement talk. This is about something deeper. How to live with true confidence, to move through life with a sense of calm and certainty instead of anxiety and frustration. And trust me, if you watch until the end, you'll walk away with a completely different perspective on how to get what you want in life, without chasing it desperately. Before we get into it, there's a simple, free favor I'll ask you. If you appreciate what we're doing here, hit the subscribe button. It takes less than a second, but it helps bring this content to more people who need it. Let's dive in. Number 1. Detach from the outcome. We spend so much of our lives obsessing over results, waiting for that job offer, hoping that relationship works out, stressing over whether our efforts will pay off. We tell ourselves that if we just work a little harder, push a little more, we can force things to go our way. But what happens? The more we cling to a specific outcome, the more anxious we become. The process stops feeling fulfilling, and our happiness becomes entirely dependent on something we can't fully control. And that's where we trap ourselves. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus taught that we suffer not because of what happens, but because of our attachment to what we want to happen. He said, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happens as it should, and you will be happy." In other words, instead of tying your happiness to a specific outcome, focus on the process. Focus on what you can control, your actions, your discipline, your mindset, and let go of everything else. Think about an artist painting a masterpiece. If they're obsessed with making every brushstroke perfect, worrying about how others will judge their work, they'll never get into a creative flow. But when they detach from the final result and simply focus on the act of painting, something incredible happens. They become fully immersed in the moment. The work becomes effortless. And ironically, that's when they create their best art. The same principle applies to everything in life: work, relationships, personal growth. When you stop fixating on how things must turn out, you give yourself the freedom to enjoy the journey. This is especially true in relationships. Have you ever seen someone try too hard to impress another person? Their energy feels needy, desperate, almost forced. And what happens? It pushes people away. But when someone is confident, at ease with themselves, and not obsessed with a particular outcome, they naturally attract others. Why? Because they're not controlled by fear. They trust that whatever is meant to happen will happen. That's the power of detachment. Now let's talk about success. So many people believe that if they don't achieve a specific goal by a certain time, they've failed. They treat life like a rigid checklist. Graduate by this age, make this much money, get married, achieve this level of success. And if things don't go according to plan, they spiral into self-doubt. But here's the thing: success isn't a straight path. It's full of twists, setbacks, and unexpected opportunities. If you're too attached to one outcome, you might miss an even better one that life is trying to bring your way. Take a moment and ask yourself, what am I holding on to too tightly? What goal, expectation, or outcome is causing me stress? Now imagine what would happen if you released that grip, not giving up, but trusting that whatever happens, you'll be okay. That's detachment. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop needing things to go a certain way to feel at peace. So how do you practice this in real life? First, remind yourself daily that outcomes are beyond your control. All you can control is your effort, your discipline, and your mindset. Second, reframe your thinking. Instead of, "I need this to happen," shift to, "I trust that whatever happens will be for my growth." And finally, focus on the present moment. The more you immerse yourself in now, the less power the future has over you. Number 2, master your mindset. Life throws challenges at us constantly. Some days everything flows effortlessly, and other days it feels like the world is working against you. The difference between people who crumble under pressure and those who thrive isn't luck, it's mindset. The way you think shapes how you experience life, and if you don't learn to master your mind will master you. You can't always control what happens around you: the economy, other people's actions, unexpected obstacles, but you can control how you respond. That's where real power lies. When you shift your mindset from reacting to responding, everything changes. Psychologist William James, often called the father of modern psychology, once said, "The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another." This is exactly what the Stoics taught. You don't have to believe every thought that enters your mind. You don't have to let every difficult moment define you. Instead, you can train yourself to reframe situations, to step back and see them from a new perspective. Here's another example. Imagine you're going through a tough time at work. You keep making mistakes. Your boss is breathing down your neck, and you feel like you're failing. One way to approach this is to think, I'm terrible at this. I'll never get better. Maybe I'm just not good enough. That's a fixed mindset, and it traps you in self-doubt. But what if you changed that thought? What if instead you said, I'm learning. Every mistake is teaching me something. The pressure I'm feeling is helping me grow. That's a growth mindset, and it allows you to turn struggles into opportunities. The Stoics believed that every challenge is an opportunity to practice virtue, patience, resilience, wisdom. Seneca once said, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. That means every struggle, every setback, every moment of frustration is actually training you to be stronger. Think of it like lifting weights. If you never push yourself, you never build strength. The same is true for your mind. But let's be honest, mastering your mindset isn't something that happens overnight. It takes daily practice. One simple way to start. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. Are you constantly feeding yourself thoughts of fear, doubt, and negativity? Or are you training yourself to see opportunities, to reframe situations, to stay calm in the face of uncertainty? Your mind is like a garden. What you plant is what grows. If you plant seeds of fear and anxiety, that's what will take over. But if you plant seeds of strength, clarity, and resilience, those will grow instead. Another way to strengthen your mindset: train yourself to stay in the present. So much stress comes from obsessing over the past or worrying about the future. But the only thing you can ever control is this moment, right now. The next time you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, what can I do right now that will move me forward? That one question can snap you out of panic and bring you back to what matters. Number 3, trust in divine timing. Patience is one of the hardest things to practice, especially when you're working towards something important. You've put in the effort, done everything right, and yet nothing seems to be happening. It's frustrating, isn't it? The world tells us that success should come quickly, that if we're not seeing instant results, we must be doing something wrong. But the truth is, life doesn't operate on our schedule. It moves according to its own rhythm, and trying to rush the process often leads to disappointment. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." Think about that. Anything truly valuable, wisdom, strength, success, takes time to develop. Just like you can't force a tree to grow faster by pulling on its branches, you can't force life to give you what you want before the time is right. There is an order to things, and when you learn to trust that timing, you free yourself from so much unnecessary stress. Imagine a young artist who dreams of making a name for themselves. They work tirelessly, pouring their heart into their craft, but they're not seeing the recognition they want. At this point, they have two choices. They can either become frustrated, lose faith, and give up, or they can trust that every brushstroke, every piece of work is preparing them for something greater, even if they can't see it yet. Those who trust the process keep going, and eventually they find themselves exactly where they're meant to be. We live in a culture of instant gratification. Fast food, fast information, fast success. We've been conditioned to believe that if something doesn't happen quickly, it's not worth waiting for. But some things must take time. Relationships, personal growth, mastering a skill, all of these require patience. Socrates once said, "To do is to be." This means that growth is in the process, not just the outcome. If you're always focused on when something will happen, you miss out on who you are becoming along the way. But here's the tricky part. How do you stay patient when you feel like nothing is happening? The Stoics would say, Focus on what's in your control. You can't control the timing, but you can control your actions. You can keep showing up, keep putting in the work, keep growing as a person. And most importantly, you can trust that if something is meant for you, it will come. Not a second too early or too late. One of the greatest lessons Stoicism teaches is the power of acceptance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together." Instead of resisting life's timing, learn to embrace it. If things aren't happening as fast as you want, maybe it's because you're still in the process of becoming the person who is ready for them. Number 4, act with purpose, not desperation. Have you ever noticed that when you desperately chase something, it always seems to move further away? Whether it's a job, a relationship, or even success, the more frantic and needy your energy, the more things seem to slip through your fingers. It's almost like the universe senses desperation and responds by pulling back. But when you act with purpose, with calm confidence, everything starts to align naturally. There's a powerful difference between chasing and attracting. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." In other words, before you act, be clear on why you're acting. Desperate action comes from fear. Fear of missing out, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. But purposeful action comes from a place of clarity and strength. When you know who you are and what you stand for, your actions become more deliberate, more grounded. Let's take an example. Imagine two people searching for a job. The first person is desperate. They send out applications everywhere, applying for jobs they don't even want, panicking over every rejection. Their energy is scattered, anxious, and uncertain. The second person, however, is focused. They know their strengths, they take time to craft meaningful applications, and they prepare without obsessing over immediate results. Who do you think is more likely to get hired? The one who is calm, confident, and strategic, not the one who is acting from fear. This applies to relationships too. If you enter a relationship out of desperation, fearing loneliness, seeking validation, it often leads to disappointment. But when you approach relationships with self-respect and confidence, you attract healthier, more fulfilling connections. People are drawn to those who are secure in themselves, not those who are grasping for attention. Aristotle spoke of eudaimonia, a state of living with purpose and fulfillment. He believed that true happiness comes not from chasing external things, but from aligning your actions with your virtues and values. This is exactly what the Stoics taught. Act with wisdom, integrity, and purpose, and let the outcomes take care of themselves. When you move with intention rather than panic, you start making better decisions. You stop wasting time on things that don't align with your true goals. Think of a seasoned chess player versus a beginner. The beginner reacts impulsively, making moves out of fear and uncertainty. The expert, however, plays with patience, seeing the bigger picture, making deliberate choices. Life works the same way. If you're constantly reacting to fear, you'll make choices that lead to more chaos. But if you take a step back, act with clarity, and trust the process, you move closer to the life you actually want. So how do you shift from acting out of desperation to acting with purpose? First, get clear on your why. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I truly want it, or because I'm afraid of not having it? Second, slow down. Desperation rushes, purpose moves with patience. Instead of making decisions from a place of fear, give yourself time to reflect and choose wisely. And finally, trust yourself. You don't need to force things into place. When you act with confidence and alignment, opportunities naturally come your way. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." A lot of desperation comes from imagined fears. What if I don't succeed? What if I fail? But the truth is, you are stronger than you think, and you don't need to scramble for what's meant for you. Act with purpose, move with confidence, and watch how life starts to align in your favor. Number 5. Let go of control. Have you ever felt exhausted from trying to control everything? You plan, you push, you strategize, but somehow life still doesn't unfold the way you expect. It's frustrating, isn't it? You try to make people act a certain way, force circumstances into place, and predict every possible outcome, only to find yourself feeling more stressed and less in control than ever. The harder you grip, the more things slip through your fingers. But here's the paradox. The moment you let go, life starts to work in your favor. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Think about that. True freedom doesn't come from controlling everything around you. It comes from letting go of the need to control. The more energy you spend trying to manage things that aren't yours to manage, other people's opinions, the future, the past, the more you drain yourself. But when you shift your focus to what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your responses, you reclaim your power. Take relationships, for example. Have you ever tried to change someone? Maybe you wanted a friend, a partner, or a family member to behave differently, to be more understanding, more supportive, more aligned with your expectations. But no matter how much you tried, they stayed the same. That's because people are not ours to control. We can communicate, we can set boundaries, we can choose who we allow in our lives, but we can't force someone to change. When you release that need, you free yourself from frustration and allow relationships to unfold naturally. The same applies to success. So many people believe that if they just push harder, they'll reach their goals faster. But there's a difference between effort and control. You should absolutely work toward your goals, but obsessing over every tiny detail, stressing about timing, and fearing failure only creates resistance. Seneca once said, "Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant." In other words, when you fight against the natural flow of life, you create unnecessary struggle. But when you trust the process and focus on what's in your power, things unfold with much greater ease. Imagine you're preparing for an important interview. You've done the research, you've practiced, and you're ready. But instead of trusting in your preparation, you start overthinking. What if they ask me a question I don't know? What if I mess up? What if I don't get the job? Now your energy is shifting from confidence to anxiety. You walk into the interview nervous, tense, and second-guessing yourself. That need for control is actually making you perform worse. But if you take a deep breath, remind yourself that you've done the work, and let go of the outcome, you walk in relaxed, present, and much more likely to succeed. So how do you start letting go of control? First, recognize what is and isn't within your power. The Stoics believed in the dichotomy of control. There are things we can influence and things we can't. Wasting energy on the uncontrollable only leads to frustration. Second, practice acceptance. Life won't always go according to plan, but that doesn't mean it's going wrong. Sometimes detours lead to better destinations. And finally, build trust, not just in life, but in yourself. Trust that you can handle whatever comes, even if it's not what you expected. Number 6, embody the energy of abundance. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to attract success, opportunities, and even happiness effortlessly? It's not that they have some secret advantage, it's their mindset. The way they think, the way they carry themselves, and the way they see the world creates a reality where abundance flows to them naturally. On the other hand, people who constantly focus on what they lack seem to struggle endlessly, no matter how hard they work. It's not about luck, it's about the energy you bring into your life. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology confirmed it. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." True abundance isn't about hoarding money, collecting achievements, or endlessly chasing more. It's about realizing that you already have everything you need to live a fulfilled life. When you stop operating from a mindset of scarcity, believing you never have enough, you make room for more to come to you naturally. Imagine two people walk into the same room. One is focused on everything they don't have. They compare themselves to others, feel like they're falling behind, and believe that success is always out of reach. Their energy is heavy, their words are filled with doubt, and they unknowingly repel opportunities. The second person walks in with the belief that they have enough knowledge, enough skills, enough opportunities ahead of them. They engage confidently, build connections naturally, and end up walking away with new possibilities. The only difference? One person was living in scarcity, the other in abundance. And it's not just about money or success. It applies to relationships, happiness, and even time. If you believe there's never enough love, never enough time, never enough good people in the world, then your mind will always look for proof of that belief. But if you shift your focus, you'll start seeing opportunities everywhere. You'll recognize the kindness in others, the possibilities in each moment, and the blessings that already exist in your life. Psychologist William James once said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes." If you constantly feel like you're missing something, your brain will focus on that lack. But if you train your mind to see abundance, if you practice gratitude, confidence, and trust in life, you start shifting your entire reality. It's not magic, it's perception. What you focus on grows. Think about a musician who approaches their career with a scarcity mindset. They constantly worry that there aren't enough opportunities, that the industry is too competitive, that they'll never make it. Every rejection feels like proof of their fears. Because of this, they play it safe, hesitate to take risks, and miss out on potential breakthroughs. Now, imagine another musician who believes in abundance. They see every rejection as redirection, every challenge as an opportunity to improve. They take more risks, connect with more people, and eventually find success, not because they were luckier, but because they embodied abundance instead of fear. So how do you start embodying abundance in your own life? First, start with gratitude. Instead of focusing on what's missing, focus on what's already here. When you appreciate what you have, you attract more of it. Second, act as if you already have enough. Move through life with confidence, knowing that opportunities are everywhere. And finally, release attachment. Trust that what's meant for you will come, not through force, but through alignment with your actions and beliefs. Number 7, take aligned action and let go. Have you ever caught yourself obsessing over a goal, pushing harder and harder, only to feel like you're running in circles? You do everything right, follow every step, and yet the results don't show up as fast as you want them to. It's frustrating, isn't it? We've been taught that success is all about effort, about never stopping, never letting go. But here's what most people don't realize. There's a difference between aligned action and desperate action. And sometimes the real key to progress is knowing when to act and when to step back. The Stoics had a deep understanding of this. Seneca once said, "Effort and patience will achieve more than force and anxiety." We live in a culture that glorifies the grind, the idea that if you just work hard enough, things have to go your way. But real success isn't about blind effort. It's about taking the right steps, staying open to opportunity, and then allowing life to unfold. The problem with forcing things is that it creates resistance. It's like pulling at a knot. The harder you yank, the tighter it becomes. Imagine you're trying to fall asleep. You can't force yourself to sleep, right? The more you try to sleep, the more restless you become. But the moment you relax, let go, and trust that sleep will come, it happens naturally. The same is true for success, relationships, and even personal growth. You have to take action, yes, but you also have to trust the process. Think of a farmer planting seeds. They prepare the soil, plant the seeds, water them, and make sure they get enough sunlight. But after that, they don't dig up the seeds every day, demanding that they grow faster. They trust that, in time, the crops will flourish. If they tried to rush the process, they'd only damage what they planted. Life works the same way. You take action, you do your part, but then you have to trust that things will develop at their own pace. This applies to every aspect of life. Take relationships, for example. Have you ever met someone who tried too hard? Maybe they were overly eager, texting too much, always needing reassurance. Their energy felt heavy, almost desperate. But then there's the person who is calm, confident, who shows interest but also gives space. They naturally attract others because they aren't forcing anything. That's what happens when you take aligned action and let go. You create space for things to flow instead of suffocating them. Or think about your career. Maybe you've been hustling, trying to force every opportunity, but nothing seems to be moving forward. Now, what if instead of panicking, you trusted that your work was enough? What if you focused on being excellent at what you do, building meaningful connections, and allowing the right doors to open when they're meant to? This doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you stop trying to control every outcome. You take smart, purposeful action and then trust that what's meant for you will come. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, wrote, "Do what you must and let what happens happen." This is the essence of aligned action. You focus on what's in your control, your efforts, your discipline, your mindset, but you don't obsess over the results. Because the truth is, no matter how much you plan, no matter how hard you push, there will always be things outside your control. And the more you resist that truth, the more stressed and frustrated you become. So how do you actually practice this in your daily life? First, get clear on your goal and take the necessary steps. Prepare, train, learn, do your part. Second, let go of the need to control when and how the results show up. Accept that timing isn't always up to you. And third, trust in your own resilience. Even if things don't go exactly as you planned, you'll adapt, you'll grow, and you'll find new opportunities along the way. At the end of the day, life isn't about controlling every outcome. It's about mastering yourself. The moment you shift your focus from chasing to aligning, from forcing to flowing, everything starts to fall into place. The Stoics knew this truth centuries ago, and now it's yours to apply. So, take a deep breath, trust the process, and remember, real power comes from within. Most people never realize how quickly they can turn everything around because they're stuck in the mindset that transformation takes forever. But it doesn't. 6 months. That is all it takes to completely change your life. Not years, not a lifetime. Just 6 months of focused effort, intense discipline, and unwavering commitment. You've already wasted more than 6 months doing things halfway, starting and stopping, waiting for motivation to hit, negotiating with comfort. The truth is, you don't need more time. You need to stop leaking your potential into distractions that never give anything back. Because while you're scrolling, hesitating, or replaying the same story in your head, someone else is rewriting theirs. and they're doing it with less time and more fire than you think you have. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This isn't about perfection, it's about precision. Small, deliberate acts carried out with intensity can reshape your reality faster than you believe. But that starts when you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start becoming the kind of person who moves even when it's hard. And if what we're doing here speaks to something real in you, if these words are shaking something loose, there's a simple, free way to show you're with us. Hit that subscribe button. We're not here to motivate you for a few minutes. We're here to help you take your power back, fully, intentionally, and without apology. This isn't just a video. This is a decision point. Let's make the next 6 months count. So here's what no one tells you. 6 months of focused effort can outperform 6 years of half-hearted attempts. But it requires something rare, full alignment. Not just doing the right things, but becoming the kind of person who does them without second-guessing. Your habits, your thoughts, your environment, your discipline, everything has to move in the same direction, like a well-trained army marching under one command. And that command must come from you, not from motivation, not from fleeting inspiration, from a decision so clear, so firm, that the noise of hesitation can't drown it out. Why don't most people reach that level of clarity? Because they're divided, internally fragmented. One part of them wants greatness, another part wants rest, distraction, and comfort. One voice whispers about potential, another clings to old habits, to fears dressed as routines, and in that tug of war, energy leaks. You scroll when you should study, you eat junk when you promise discipline, you rationalize when you should move, you delay when the answer should be now. And bit by bit, your identity gets shaped not by who you want to become, but by who you keep choosing to be in moments of weakness. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." What does that mean here? It means the enemy isn't out there, it's in the blind spots. It's the patterns you don't question, the inner voices you confuse for truth, the pain you've made peace with simply because it's familiar. This 6-month transformation isn't just about working harder. It's about confronting the unconscious forces that quietly dictate your choices. Your procrastination isn't random. Your self-sabotage isn't an accident. They're habits of thought, built long ago, still running the show in the background. So how do you break them? Not gently, not someday, not when you feel ready. Now with fire, with brutal honesty, with the kind of radical self-awareness that refuses to flinch. You must look your defaults in the face, the excuses, the mental exits, the emotional dependencies, and strip them of the lies that make them comfortable. Socrates said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." But the examined one? That's where the real war begins. Because once you see what's been holding you back, you can't unsee it. The only thing left is what you choose to do with it. And that brings us to the next question. What happens when your excuses no longer work on you? Ask yourself, what have the last 6 months really looked like? Not through the lens of self-forgiveness, not through the haze of "I've been busy," but through the raw honesty of someone who's done pretending. Did you spend more time escaping your problems than solving them? Did Netflix get more hours than your goals? Did you find ways to delay the very things you claim you want, dressing up avoidance in the costume of just being realistic? Be brutally honest. How often did you lower your standards the moment discomfort knocked on your door and said, "Let's take it easy today"? And if you did, if that version of you has been in the driver's seat, how much longer are you going to let them steer? How many more days will you trade for temporary comfort, knowing full well they never come back? 6 months. That's your test. not to invent a new identity, not to chase an image you saw online, but to return to yourself, to the version of you that existed before the world told you to play small, to blend in, to stop asking for more. That version didn't wait for permission. It didn't explain its hunger away. It moved, it created, it acted, and it's still in you, buried under layers of hesitation, but not gone. Carl Jung believed that wholeness is not achieved by cutting off parts of ourselves, but by integration. You don't need to become something you're not. You need to remember who you were before fear rewrote the script. But here's the catch. You don't get to remember without responsibility. You don't reclaim your power while blaming your past, so you take ownership. Not the comfortable kind, not the social media kind where you post a caption about owning your life and then do nothing different. I mean the kind that hurts, the kind that makes your stomach drop, the kind that leaves no one else to blame. If you're not where you want to be, it's not the algorithm's fault. It's not your toxic boss or your broken schedule. It's your decisions, your rituals, the comfort you chose over growth. The truth is painful, but it's clean. Unlike denial, which leaves a mess every time. Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. You don't need more time. You need more intensity. The kind of commitment that makes distractions feel offensive. The kind of clarity that makes the old you feel foreign. When you build a life rooted in purpose, things that once felt irresistible start to lose their power. You no longer entertain anything that doesn't fit the identity you're building, not because you're forcing discipline, but because misalignment feels wrong. So let me ask you, what good is a goal without a system to hold it up? Most people love to dream. Few are willing to architect the day-to-day discipline that makes the dream real, and even fewer live that discipline when no one is watching. But that's the difference between growth and stagnation, between regret and pride. So stop asking, "What should I do?" That question assumes you're lost. Start asking the question that assumes your power. Who must I become to never need to ask this question again? Because once you become that person, the path reveals itself. The habits align, the excuses lose their volume, and the need to find motivation, it disappears entirely. But what kind of mindset does that kind of person operate from? This is the first shift, identity. Everything starts here, because when your identity upgrades, your habits don't need alarms or reminders. You don't have to convince yourself to show up. Showing up becomes as natural as breathing. It becomes you. This isn't some motivational fluff. This is neuroscience and philosophy agreeing for once. The brain clings to identity, and behavior follows belief. If you still think of yourself as undisciplined, your actions will subconsciously reinforce that label. But when you see yourself as someone who follows through, even when it's hard, you begin to act in alignment with that truth, almost automatically. That's why the Stoics were right when they said, "Don't waste time arguing what a good person is. Be one. Embody it." Plato taught that virtue is not something we inherit, but something we cultivate through repetition. When the standard becomes your nature, effort disappears. You no longer ask, "Should I?" You simply do. But here's where most people stall. They've upgraded the desire, not the identity. They want more, but they still see themselves as less. So let's get practical. Let's talk clarity. Not vague aspirations like, "I want to be successful," or "I want to be happier." That's noise. That's wallpaper thinking. Pretty, but useless. What does success look like for you? Feel like? Measure like? If you can't describe it, your mind can't pursue it. Do you want to lose 30 pounds? Say it. Don't hide behind, "I just want to get in shape." Do you want to build a six-figure business? Read 50 books this year. Sleep 8 hours a night. Spend more time with your kids. Whatever it is, name it, clarify it, quantify it. Because blurry goals lead to blurry effort, and blurry effort leads to nowhere. Aristotle said, "The soul never thinks without an image." If you can't picture your future, your mind won't move toward it. You must be able to see it so clearly that every part of you starts believing it's already on the way. But even clarity isn't enough. Here's the kicker. That goal, you have to reverse engineer it into daily execution. Not monthly intentions, not weekly bursts of motivation. Daily precision. What must happen today, exactly, to move 1 inch closer? One email, one workout, one uncomfortable conversation. And then you do it. No matter how you feel, no matter the weather, no matter if Mercury is in retrograde or your to-do list is giving you a panic attack. You don't wait to feel ready. You build your own internal climate. A system where discipline isn't something you chase, it's something you are. Because real discipline is forged in friction, not ease. Anyone can act when it's convenient. What defines you is what you do when it's not. So why do most people break down? Because the ego wants visible results, now. It craves validation like oxygen, but transformation doesn't work that way. It's quiet at first, invisible. It feels like nothing is changing, until one day, everything has. That's the paradox. You won't feel it happening while it's happening. So don't chase fireworks, chase consistency. That's where the power lives. That's where identity crystallizes. You know what destroys more dreams than failure ever could? Negotiation. That inner whisper. Maybe I'll skip today. It's not that urgent. I'll start fresh on Monday. Once that debate starts, it's already over. Because comfort is persuasive. It doesn't yell. It suggests. It offers softness when what you really need is steel. That's why the greats remove the option entirely. They decide once and then act forever. They don't revisit the commitment every morning. They live inside it. You think Marcus Aurelius opened his eyes each day and debated whether to embody virtue? Number, he understood the responsibility of his role, and he embodied it without asking for applause. Socrates didn't wait for the right moment to speak truth. He was truth in motion. Their actions weren't rooted in emotion, but in principle. So the real question becomes, what would your life look like if you stopped giving yourself a way out? Stop waking up wondering what to do. Instead, wake up remembering exactly who you are. Most people roll out of bed and immediately surrender to emotion, checking in with how they feel and deciding whether they're ready for the day ahead. But the truth is, life doesn't wait for you to feel inspired. It moves relentlessly forward, and if you hesitate, opportunities vanish. Aristotle put it simply, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Your power doesn't lie in waiting for perfect conditions. It's revealed by acting when conditions feel far from perfect. When you act despite your feelings, when you choose discipline over comfort, something remarkable begins to happen. Your emotions begin to follow your actions rather than leading them. This subtle shift reshapes your identity. You become someone who moves purposefully, decisively, consistently. Action creates identity. Identity builds momentum. Momentum carries you forward, turning seemingly small daily victories into profound transformation. But how do you maintain momentum when life is so eager to distract you? Momentum, after all, is fragile. You protect it by guarding your time as though your very life depends on it, because it truly does. Consider the limited nature of your days and weeks. Every moment you surrender to trivial distractions or aimless scrolling is a quiet surrender of the life you truly want. Most people aren't lazy, they're just experts at quietly losing track of their time. Their days leak away, drip by drip, into activities that offer no real return. Carl Jung warned us, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." Your time and your attention are among the most valuable resources you possess, yet how often do you treat them as disposable? How many small interruptions, harmless at first glance, gradually erode the very foundations of your dreams? Understand, this isn't about relentless hustle or endlessly pushing yourself into exhaustion. This is about reclaiming sovereignty, taking back control of the hours and minutes that define your life. Ask yourself honestly, who really owns your day? Is it you, or is it every passing impulse, every trivial notification, every random thought begging for your attention? If you don't actively defend your focus, distractions will effortlessly conquer it. Plato once said, "The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. Begin that conquest by structuring your days intentionally. Design your life thoughtfully, create moments of uninterrupted focus, protect deep work as something sacred, and honor periods of quiet reflection as non-negotiable. This is how you craft a life with intention, purpose, and clarity." But why stop at simply structuring your days? Why not raise the bar higher? Why not elevate your standards? Not eventually, not someday, but right now. Because here's a powerful truth: your standards define the limits of your potential. Aristotle believed that the purpose of life is the realization of excellence. If you demand excellence, excellence emerges. If you accept mediocrity, mediocrity becomes your reality. So ask yourself this deeply: are your current standards truly worthy of the life you envision, or is it time to redefine them entirely? While others are still carefully laying plans, hesitating and waiting for the perfect moment, you're already in motion. You're already putting your mark on the world. While they calculate risks and weigh every possible outcome, you're boldly creating outcomes of your own. Because here's the truth they haven't realized yet: life rewards motion, not contemplation. It favors those who take action, those who push forward, even when certainty isn't guaranteed. You see, confidence isn't quietly cultivated through endless contemplation or theoretical analysis. It's forged in action, born from repeatedly stepping into uncertainty and discovering that you can handle whatever comes your way. Aristotle famously said, "Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others." When you step into action, courage and confidence follow. You don't need more preparation. You need fewer excuses, fewer hesitations, fewer moments of doubt. Every second spent hesitating is a second surrendered to fear, while every moment spent moving forward reinforces your strength. Carl Jung wisely observed, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." Every day you're either reinforcing your personal power or feeding your weaknesses. Every choice you make, however small it seems in the moment, is casting a powerful vote toward the person you're becoming. Your habits, your routines, even the seemingly insignificant decisions you make throughout the day, all add up. Each one pushes you closer to your ideal self or drags you further away. So ask yourself, which direction did you move today? And since every action counts, why not move decisively, swiftly, and with purpose? Plato believed deeply in the principle that human behavior flows from three main sources: desire, emotion, and knowledge. Align these three elements and let them propel you forward. Move with an unrelenting hunger. Move with a sense of obsession. Not reckless obsession, but the kind that clarifies and energizes your every action, making distractions feel meaningless. When you move like this, hesitation no longer controls you. Fear doesn't define your decisions. Momentum takes over, and momentum is the most unstoppable force there is. If you commit to this level of intensity and clarity for the next 6 months, you won't recognize the person you used to be. Think about that. The hesitant version of you, the one who used to delay, stall, and second guess, will become a distant memory. Instead, you'll move with purpose. You'll speak with conviction. You'll think clearly, precisely, in full sentences, rather than the fragmented phrases of doubt and indecision. The fog of uncertainty will lift, replaced by a vibrant clarity of mind, body, and spirit. Perhaps the most profound transformation, though, is that when you look back, it won't be pride you feel. It'll be gratitude. Not gratitude for the achievements or the accolades, though those will surely come, but gratitude for that singular moment of decision, the decision you made today, to finally act, to finally commit, to finally refuse to be defined by hesitation. Because this moment right now isn't the conclusion of anything. It's not the finish line. This is ignition. It's a spark lighting the fire of everything you're about to become. The person you're transforming into doesn't live in dreams or hypothetical scenarios anymore. They're not theoretical or imaginary. They're real. They exist right now, in this very moment. As Socrates famously said, "The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." And now you've built something new, something powerful, something authentic. The only question left is, what will you do with it? How will you show the world who you've finally allowed yourself to become? Remember, life doesn't reward what you know, it rewards what you do. Sometimes the hardest thing in life is realizing that the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the decision to step up. It's not luck, it's not timing, and it's not even talent. It's you, right now, deciding that you are worthy of striving for more. This isn't about waiting for the world to hand you the perfect moment. The Stoics believed in this too. Epictetus taught us that we can't control external events, but we can control how we respond. And today, we're going to talk about one of the most powerful responses you can have, deciding in this very moment to act as if you're the best. Because let's be honest, we all face doubts. That little voice inside your head telling you, you're not ready yet, or you're not good enough. But what if I told you that you don't need to wait until you feel ready? The truth is, you become the best, not by waiting for the right conditions, but by showing up with the mindset that you already have what it takes. The Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, would remind themselves daily to focus on what they could control and to act with virtue, no matter the circumstances. It's about embracing the power you have right now, even if the path ahead feels uncertain. So, in today's video, we're diving into the mindset that can radically change how you approach your goals, your challenges, and your everyday life. This isn't about pretending to be something you're not. It's about stepping into your full potential. Stay tuned, because we're going to explore how acting as if you're the best isn't just a mindset shift, but the key to unlocking everything you've been striving for. So if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple favor I'll ask from you is to hit the subscribe button. It's free, and it really helps support the channel. Let's get started. The power of deciding to be the best. The moment you decide to live up to your full potential is the moment your life starts to change. It's not about waiting for the right opportunity or hoping for external circumstances to improve. It's about making an internal decision, a decision to show up every day as the best version of yourself. This idea echoes the teachings of the Stoics, who believed that our true power lies in how we choose to approach life. As Epictetus said, It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The decision to be the best begins with that mindset. This mindset isn't about being perfect or better than others. It's about setting a standard for yourself and committing to continuous growth. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful emperors in history, constantly reminded himself to act with virtue, not for glory or praise, but because it was the right thing to do. He believed that every day was an opportunity to strive for excellence, not in competition with others, but in competition with his own potential. When you decide to be the best, you're not saying you'll never make mistakes or face challenges. The Stoics were clear that life is full of obstacles, but they also believed that these obstacles are what shape us. By deciding to be the best, you choose to face those challenges head-on, using them as opportunities to grow stronger and wiser. This is where your life starts to transform. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about making the choice now, in this moment, to act with purpose and confidence. From this decision, everything else flows. You raise your standards, your actions align with your goals, and you begin to move closer to the person you know you can be. That's the power of deciding to be the best. Why acting like you're the best matters. When I say act as if you are the best, I don't mean strutting around like you're better than everyone else. Far from it. Acting like you're the best isn't about looking down on others or becoming arrogant. It's about holding yourself to the highest possible standard and striving for excellence, not for external validation, but for your own growth. So, when I say act as if you're the best, I'm talking about adopting the mindset of someone who is already at the top of their game. Imagine you're a world-class athlete or a master craftsman. There's no arrogance in their confidence. It's calm, assured, and built on a foundation of hard work, discipline, and constant self-improvement. Think of how Marcus Aurelius carried himself as a leader. He didn't see himself as perfect or superior to others. He saw himself as a student of life, always working to improve and act with virtue. This is the kind of mindset we're after. Acting like you're the best isn't about pretending to know everything or never making mistakes. It's about showing up with the belief that you are fully capable of handling whatever comes your way. This belief shapes your actions. When you believe you're the best, you act like it. You carry yourself with confidence, and people notice. The Stoics would remind us that this confidence isn't external, it's internal. It comes from knowing that you're living in alignment with your values and doing your best in every situation. The key difference here is that arrogance seeks to elevate you above others, but acting like you're the best is about lifting yourself up to your own highest potential. It's about striving for excellence while staying humble and grounded, just like the Stoics taught. You're not aiming for perfection, but for progress, always working on yourself, always learning, and always moving forward. What if I'm not the best? Some of you might be thinking, but I'm not the best. I'm nowhere close. How can I act as if I am? And that's completely understandable. It's natural to feel like you're not at the top. But here's the thing, you don't have to be the best to act like the best. The beauty of this mindset is that it works even when you're not at the top. Acting as if you're the best doesn't mean pretending or being delusional. It's about shifting your mindset to unlock your full potential, and that starts with how you view yourself. This aligns perfectly with Stoicism. The Stoics believed that we have control over our mindset and how we respond to life's challenges. So, even if you're not the best right now, you can still choose to carry yourself with confidence, discipline, and purpose, traits that the best exemplify. When you act as if you're the best, something powerful starts to happen. You begin to believe it. And when you believe it, you start to become it. This isn't some magical thinking or false confidence. It's a proven psychological shift that affects your actions. The Stoics taught us that our beliefs shape our behaviors, and when we act as if we are capable and competent, we become more so. This is a self-fulfilling prophecy, a concept the Stoics were well aware of. Take a job interview, for example. If you walk in nervous, doubting yourself and thinking you're not good enough, you're likely going to perform poorly. But if you walk in with the mindset that you are the best person for the job, carrying yourself with confidence, speaking clearly about your skills, and believing in your value, that changes everything. Even if you don't get the job, that shift in mindset prepares you for the next opportunity. You've practiced confidence and built resilience, which will serve you moving forward. So, when you say to yourself, "I'm not the best," the Stoics would remind you, that's not the point. The point is to act as if you are. By doing so, you elevate yourself. You align your actions with the person you want to become. The goal isn't to be perfect, but to continuously strive for excellence, always improving, just as Stoic philosophy teaches us. Continuous growth, the Stoic path to mastery. The Stoics believed in the importance of continuous growth, and that's exactly what this mindset is all about. Acting as if you're the best doesn't mean you think you've reached perfection or that you can stop improving. In fact, it's the opposite. It's about committing to a life of constant learning, discipline, and refinement. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." This means that no matter how good you become, there's always room for growth. The best people in any field, whether it's a skilled athlete, a successful business person, or a wise philosopher, never stop improving. They remain students of life. When you act as if you're the best, you're committing to this same process of mastery. You're saying, "I'm going to carry myself like the best, and I'm going to put in the work to become the best." This mindset is rooted in humility, not arrogance. The Stoics valued humility deeply. Marcus Aurelius, despite being one of the most powerful men in the world, constantly reminded himself to stay grounded and continue improving. He didn't see his position as the end of the road, but as a responsibility to strive for personal excellence every day. When you adopt this mindset, you're doing the same. You're striving to be better today than you were yesterday, knowing that growth is a lifelong pursuit. Acting as if you're the best means raising your own standards. It means taking responsibility for your personal development in every area of life. In your relationships, for example, it's about asking yourself, what would the best version of me do? How would the best partner, the best friend, or the best parent behave? It's not about pretending to be perfect, but about continuously working to improve and show up as the best version of yourself. In your health, it means acting as if you're in the best shape of your life. How would you treat your body if you believed you were capable of achieving peak health? What choices would you make in terms of your diet, exercise, and habits? The Stoic path is one of self-discipline and making intentional choices that lead to long-term well-being. Practice makes reality. When you hear the phrase "act as if you're the best," it might feel like pretending at first, and maybe in a sense it is. But here's the truth. What you consistently practice becomes your reality. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca famously said, "We become what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. This means that the more you practice something, whether it's confidence, discipline, or resilience, the more it becomes part of who you are. Let's break this down. When you start acting as if you're the best, it might feel unnatural. You might think, "Who am I to carry myself with such confidence?" But the beauty of human nature is that we are incredibly adaptable. The Stoics believed that we are shaped by our thoughts and actions. If you consistently act with confidence, you start to feel more confident. If you make disciplined choices in your life, over time, you become more disciplined. It's not about faking it forever. It's about practicing the qualities you want to embody until they become second nature. Think of it like building a muscle. At first, lifting weights feels hard, even uncomfortable, but as you keep practicing, your strength grows. Acting as if you're the best works the same way. Each time you practice it, you reinforce that mindset, and eventually, it becomes less of an act and more of a habit. The Stoics understood this process. Epictetus often reminded his students that we have control over how we respond to the world. By practicing virtuous actions, we align our inner selves with the kind of person we want to become. Let's say you want to become more confident in social situations. At first, you might feel awkward, like you're putting on a show. But the more you practice standing tall, speaking clearly, and engaging with others, the more you begin to feel that confidence. Eventually, it stops feeling like an act, and you realize that you've actually become more comfortable in these situations. The same goes for any area of life. If you practice making healthy choices, over time, you become someone who naturally lives a healthier lifestyle. If you practice managing your finances well, you eventually become someone who is financially secure. The Stoic idea of practicing virtue teaches us that we don't have to wait for change to happen. We can create it through our daily actions. The key is consistency. It's not about doing it once and expecting a transformation. It's about showing up every day and practicing the qualities that align with your highest potential. Over time, what started as practice becomes your reality. You become the best version of yourself by repeatedly acting like it. As the Stoics taught, your actions shape your character, and your character shapes your life. So keep practicing, because your reality is being built by what you do each day. Facing weakness, embracing your shortcomings. When we talk about acting as if you're the best, it's easy to think it means ignoring your flaws or pretending they don't exist. But in reality, it's the opposite. Acting like you're the best means having the courage to face your weaknesses head-on and use them as opportunities for growth. The Stoics were masters at this. They taught that self-awareness and honest reflection are essential for improvement. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Part of that power is understanding where we fall short, not to feel ashamed, but to learn and grow. The best people in any field aren't those who believe they're flawless. They are the ones who understand their shortcomings better than anyone else, but they don't let those shortcomings define them. Instead, they use them as motivation to keep improving. The Stoics believed in embracing challenges and discomfort as part of life's natural course. Epictetus reminded us that the path to mastery requires us to face obstacles with resilience. When we see our weaknesses clearly, we can approach them with a mindset of progress. Think about it this way: if you ignore your weaknesses, they don't go away. In fact, they tend to grow bigger and more disruptive over time. But if you acknowledge them and take steps to improve, you become stronger. The Stoics didn't see weakness as failure. They saw it as an opportunity to practice arete, which means striving for excellence. When you face your weaknesses, you're giving yourself the chance to become better, more disciplined, and more capable. This process requires humility. Acting like you're the best doesn't mean you think you're perfect. It means you're committed to continuous growth. You can be confident in your strengths while being fully aware of where you need to improve. The Stoics, especially Seneca, often wrote about the importance of learning from every experience, even failures. In fact, Seneca believed that failure and setbacks are often our greatest teachers. They reveal where we need to grow and push us to develop the skills or mindset we might lack. The key is to see your weaknesses not as something to be ashamed of, but as a natural part of your development. By facing them with honesty and a desire to improve, you take control of your growth. This is where true strength lies, in the ability to confront what's holding you back and working to overcome it. The Stoic approach is to view life's challenges, including your own shortcomings, as fuel for becoming a better, more resilient person. When you act as if you're the best, you're not pretending to be perfect. Instead, you're showing that you have the strength to face your weaknesses, learn from them, and grow into the person you aspire to be. This mindset will carry you forward, just as it did for the Stoics, who embraced their flaws, learned from them, and continued on their path toward excellence, elevating those around you. When you act as if you're the best, it's not just about improving your own life. It's about raising the bar for everyone around you. The Stoics believed in the concept of sympatheia, the idea that we are all connected and our actions impact the whole. When you strive for excellence, you inspire others to do the same. Your confidence, discipline, and commitment to growth naturally elevate the people you interact with, whether it's in your family, your friendships, or your workplace. Think about how it feels to be around someone who carries themselves with purpose and clarity. Their energy is contagious. They don't need to say it, but their actions, their presence, show others what's possible. This is how you can influence others, by leading by example. When you act as if you're the best, you become a source of inspiration for those who might be struggling with self-doubt or uncertainty. You show them that it's possible to rise above challenges by adopting the right mindset and staying focused on what truly matters. The Stoics were not concerned with competition in the way we often think of it today. They believed in helping others achieve virtue and wisdom. When you raise your standards and strive for excellence, you're not just lifting yourself. You're creating an environment where those around you feel encouraged to rise with you. Acting as if you're the best means embodying qualities that others respect and want to emulate. By doing this, you not only improve your own life, but also contribute to the growth and success of the people in your circle. It's a ripple effect of positive change, just as the Stoics would have intended. Stoic way to handle failure. Failure is something we all face, and the Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that failure is not something to be feared, but rather an inevitable part of life's journey. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the path toward it. When you act as if you're the best, it doesn't mean you believe you'll never fail. It means you approach failure with resilience, knowing that every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow. The Stoics believed in focusing on what you can control. You can't always control the outcome, but you can control how you respond to failure. Instead of seeing failure as a personal defeat, see it as feedback, a lesson on what didn't work and how you can improve. Epictetus reminded his students that we should accept failure as part of life and use it to build our character. Failure isn't a reason to give up, but a reason to keep going with more knowledge and experience. When you face failure with the Stoic mindset, you stop seeing it as something to avoid. Instead, you embrace it as a chance to practice perseverance and adaptability. The best people in any field, whether in business, sports, or philosophy, aren't those who never fail, but those who know how to bounce back stronger each time. As the Stoics taught, our true strength comes from how we rise after we fall. So, the next time you fail, remember that it's not the end of the story. It's a crucial step on your journey to greatness. Acting as if you're the best isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily practice. The Stoics believed in the importance of consistent, deliberate action. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, urged himself to approach each day with purpose and intention. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This practice of showing up every day with a commitment to excellence is how you move closer to becoming the best version of yourself. The beauty of this mindset is that you don't need to wait until you feel ready. The Stoics knew that waiting for the perfect moment often leads to inaction. Instead, they taught us to start where we are with what we have. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be consistent. By acting as if you're the best each day, you're practicing the qualities that will eventually define you. Over time, what started as a conscious effort becomes part of your character. Remember, this isn't about arrogance or pretending to be something you're not. It's about aligning your actions with your potential and striving for excellence in everything you do. Whether it's in your work, your relationships, or your personal growth, acting as if you're the best helps you raise your own standards and live with purpose. As the Stoics taught, we control our actions, and through our actions, we shape our lives. So make this mindset a daily practice. Every morning, ask yourself, how would the best version of me approach this day? With that question guiding you, you'll find yourself consistently moving toward the life you're capable of living, one action at a time. Let's get straight to the heart of the matter. How many of us are actually living our lives to the fullest potential? I'm talking about waking up every day fueled not just by coffee, but by an unstoppable drive to improve, to excel, and to genuinely thrive. If that sounds like the life you want, then I have 9 powerful Stoic principles to share with you. These aren't just ideas, they're practical tools designed to sharpen your mind and enrich your spirit. Each one will help you focus, act with purpose, and discover your true self along the way. If you're seeking a morning routine that promises to keep you focused and elevate your everyday life, stick with me as we dive into these principles that are more relevant than ever in our fast-paced, modern world. Every morning when you wake up, remind yourself, I am capable. This is more than just a statement. It's a declaration of your inherent strength and competence. It's not about arrogance or an inflated sense of self. It's about grounding yourself in the knowledge that you have the power to face whatever comes your way. It's about waking up each day and planting your feet firmly on the ground, anchored in the belief that you are fully equipped to handle the challenges and opportunities that life throws at you. This affirmation serves as a daily reminder that you possess the skills, the wisdom, and the resilience required to succeed. This isn't just optimism, it's a necessary stance if you are to navigate the complexities of life with assurance and agility. In a world that often tries to point out our deficiencies, it is vital to reaffirm your own value and capabilities. When doubts creep in, and they will, this simple yet powerful reminder can be the beacon that guides you back to your core of strength. Each time you assert, I am capable, you're not just convincing yourself, you're challenging the status quo that may have unfairly labeled you otherwise. It's about knowing your worth without needing external validation. You recognize that while the world may be unpredictable and sometimes harsh, your response to it, your belief in yourself, must remain steady and strong. Embracing this mindset transforms how you approach every task, every interaction, and every decision. You move with purpose and intent, not just reacting to events, but actively shaping them. This confidence isn't visible just to you, it radiates outward, influencing how others perceive and respond to you. When you truly believe in your capabilities, you inspire confidence in those around you, creating a positive feedback loop that reinforces your belief in yourself. How often do we limit ourselves with, I can't? Let me flip that script for you. You absolutely can. You have the power to shape your reality. The Stoics, Those ancient philosophers who turned wisdom into an art form believed that our perceptions dictate our reality. What does this mean for us today? It means that the lens through which we view our circumstances, the narrative we tell ourselves about what we can and cannot do, shapes everything from our daily experiences to our life's trajectory. By embracing the mindset that I shape my reality, you take ownership of your life. You recognize that every decision, every reaction, and every thought contributes to the canvas of your life. This isn't about denying the challenges or difficulties you face. Rather, it's about acknowledging them and then realizing you have the power to navigate through them, mold them, or even use them as stepping stones towards something greater. This principle teaches us not to passively wait for the right moment or seek external approval to move forward. Why wait for a perfect moment when you can create it? Every day is ripe with opportunities to take control, make decisions, and steer your life in the direction you choose. Whether it's changing careers, improving relationships, or embarking on a new personal project, the driving force comes from your belief that you can indeed shape the outcomes. Imagine starting each day with the conviction that you hold the reins to your day. You decide to view every interaction and challenge through a proactive lens. This doesn't just open up possibilities, it multiplies them. When you live with the belief that you have this power, it becomes evident in your actions. You become more decisive, more willing to take risks, and more resilient in the face of setbacks, because you know that each step is a sculpting tool shaping the grand masterpiece of your life. Claiming your power to shape your reality is empowering, but also requires responsibility. It means taking conscious control of your thoughts and attitudes. Each thought of "I can" fortifies your resolve, and every "I will" propels you forward. By consistently affirming your ability to shape your reality, you not only change your view of the world, but also the world's view of you. It's all too common to find ourselves tangled up in the regrets of yesterday or the uncertainties of today. But what if I told you there's a different way to start your day, a way that sets the tone for success and clarity? Each morning when you remind yourself, "My path is clear," you're not just reciting words, you're setting an intention. This mantra isn't about denying that there are obstacles. Of course there are. Life is full of them. But embracing this perspective means seeing these obstacles not as barriers, but as integral parts of your journey, each one a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. It's about acknowledging the challenges and then using them as catalysts to propel you forward, not hold you back. When you start your day with the mindset that your path is clear, you're doing more than just pumping yourself up. You're programming your brain to focus on solutions and progress. This clarity doesn't magically remove the obstacles from your path, but it empowers you to navigate through them more effectively. Each challenge becomes a lesson in disguise, and with every lesson, you accumulate wisdom. Wisdom that lights up your path even in the darkest of times. The idea here is not to stride blindly, but to move forward with a clear vision of where you want to go. This clarity comes from both a deep understanding of your goals and an acceptance of what it will take to get there. It's about strategic navigation, which is only possible when you have a lucid sense of direction. This doesn't mean that your path won't twist and turn, but rather that you remain steadfast and adaptable, ready to shift course as necessary, while keeping your destination in sight. The concept of a clear path also encourages you to shed the unnecessary baggage of past failures and fears. It's easy to carry these burdens along with us, letting them cloud our vision and weigh us down. Remembering that your path is clear helps you to let go of these weights, to forgive yourself for past mistakes, and to move forward with a lighter, more agile mindset. In the pursuit of personal excellence, Remember that progress is a daily commitment. I grow stronger. Daily is a simple yet profound statement, serves as a powerful reminder that our journey toward personal excellence is a continual process of evolution. You won't achieve perfection overnight, but every day brings you closer to it. Acknowledge your growth, cherish your journey, and understand that every challenge faced and every error made is an opportunity to learn and to fortify your character. This philosophy hinges on the realization that growth is a non-linear process. Some days you might leap forward, while others might seem like you're taking a few steps back. But even those days are crucial, as they are rich with lessons that are integral to strengthening your character. Every misstep, every challenge you encounter is not a signal of failure, but a clarion call to learning and resilience. When you start to view your journey through this lens, each obstacle becomes a moment to test your resolve and enhance your capabilities. Embracing daily growth also means actively acknowledging and celebrating your progress, no matter how small it might seem. This could be refining a skill, overcoming a fear, or simply handling a stressful situation with a bit more grace than before. By recognizing these victories, you reinforce your path of improvement and motivate yourself to continue pushing forward. Moreover, this growth mindset encourages a culture of self-compassion and patience. It's easy to be hard on ourselves when we don't meet our expectations or when we compare our progress to others. However, understanding that growth is a personal journey unique to each individual allows us to appreciate our own pace and respect our process. It frees us from the harsh judgments we often place on ourselves and replaces them with a nurturing attitude that fosters more substantial and sustainable growth. I commit to excellence isn't just a phrase, it's a personal declaration, a commitment that sets the tone for every aspect of your life. This commitment resonates deeply with the Stoic philosophy that our virtues and the effort we put into cultivating them define us more than any of our words could. When you wake up each day and reaffirm your commitment to excellence, you're not just setting a goal, you're aligning your daily actions with your highest values. The beauty of this commitment lies in its simplicity and its challenge. Excellence isn't about outperforming others or achieving perfection. Instead, it's about embracing the grind, the daily effort required to surpass your previous limits. It's about finding value and purpose in the persistence and discipline that shape not just outcomes, but character. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control: our efforts, our discipline, our integrity, and our responses to the external world. By committing to excellence, you focus on these controllable aspects, embodying the virtues that Stoics hold dear, such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. Each morning, when you remind yourself of this commitment, it's a prompt to embody these virtues throughout your day, no matter the challenges that come your way. Moreover, this commitment pushes you to strive while others might rest, not as a judgment on their choices, but as a personal standard you set for yourself. It's about holding yourself to a standard of consistent effort, which in turn cultivates resilience and a deep-rooted sense of achievement. The path of excellence is often a solitary one, not in the sense of isolation, but in its requirement for personal accountability and self-motivation. True success, as shaped by persistent effort and discipline, isn't merely about the accolades or achievements that come from your work. Rather, it's about the person you become in the process. Each day of striving makes you stronger, wiser, and more attuned to the finer details of your craft and the needs of others. It molds you into a leader, not just in your field, but in your community, inspiring others with your dedication and integrity. Excuses are the adversaries of progress. "Excuses do not define me" is a powerful stance to take in life. Excuses, you see, are more than just little white lies we tell others. They're the stories we weave to justify our inactions to ourselves. They can be seductive, giving us apparent relief from the discomfort of accountability. However, in embracing excuses, we surrender our power to change, to influence, and to progress toward our goals. This is why, from a Stoic perspective, it is so crucial to focus on what is squarely in our control, our actions and our responses. Every time we face a challenging situation or a setback, we have two choices. We can craft an excuse, or we can confront the situation head-on with responsibility and purpose. Excuses might seem to offer an easy way out, but they keep us tethered to the same spot, stuck in a loop of unfulfillment and regret. In contrast, taking responsibility empowers us to learn, grow, and move forward. It's about owning our life's narrative and actively shaping it, rather than being a passive character in a story written by circumstance and fear. Rejecting excuses means actively questioning those knee-jerk narratives that say, "It's too hard," "I don't have enough time," or "I'm just not good enough." It involves a rigorous self-assessment and a commitment to push through discomfort. This isn't about being harsh on yourself. Rather, it's about being honest and clear-sighted about your capabilities and the tangible actions you can take to overcome hurdles. Each time you sidestep an excuse, you build a little more resilience and confidence, reinforcing a self-image that's based on capability rather than limitation. Moreover, acting with purpose is an integral part of this philosophy. It means every action you take is imbued with intentionality and directed towards a meaningful outcome. When you live this way, not only do you eliminate the space in your life for excuses, but you also cultivate a mindset that looks for solutions rather than escape routes. It's about making decisions that align with your core values and long-term objectives, rather than opting for the temporary comfort that excuses provide. So when I say, "Excuses do not define me," it's a declaration of independence from self-imposed barriers. It's an affirmation that I choose to define myself by my efforts, my resilience, and my achievements, no matter how small they might be initially. This approach doesn't just change how you tackle goals, it fundamentally transforms how you perceive challenges and setbacks. They become less about failure and more about opportunities for growth, learning, and self-realization. I am designed for greatness. Let that sink in for a moment. It's not just a motivational line, it's a profound truth that can fundamentally change how you see yourself and your place in the world. You are not just another face in the crowd, destined to blend in and move with the masses. No, you are here with a unique set of talents, an inherent ability that is uniquely yours, meant not just for mere existence, but for remarkable achievement and meaningful contributions. Every morning when you wake up, remind yourself of this simple yet transformative truth. You are designed for greatness. This isn't about feeding your ego. It's about recognizing and accepting the responsibility that comes with your inherent potential. You have something special that only you can offer to the world, and it is your duty, to yourself and to others, to develop and share these gifts. Understanding that you are designed for greatness changes your approach to everyday challenges and opportunities. It shifts your perspective from "I have to" "I get to." It means viewing each day as a new chance to step closer to your highest potential. This belief in your destined greatness isn't meant to pressure you into constant production, but to inspire you towards continuous growth and improvement. It's about striving to be better today than you were yesterday, and even better tomorrow. Moreover, let this knowledge of your inherent greatness serve as a driving force in your life. Let it push you through the times of doubt and lift you higher in moments of success. When you truly believe in your great potential, you start to act differently. Your choices reflect your aspirations, and your actions align with your goals. You become more resilient, knowing that any setbacks are just temporary obstacles on your path to achieving great things. Sharing your gifts with the world is not just about personal fulfillment, it's about making a difference. Whether it's through your career, your hobbies, or your relationships, every interaction is an opportunity to impart something valuable. This might mean offering your skills to help solve problems, using your creativity to inspire others, or simply bringing your best self to your daily interactions, thereby uplifting those around you. In a world where opinions are as plentiful as people, it's easy to feel swayed or overwhelmed by what others think or say about us. External opinions do not sway me. Embrace this principle as a guiding light in navigating through life's clamor. Stoicism, a philosophy rooted in the pursuit of rationality and inner peace, teaches us a vital lesson here. The importance of maintaining an inner citadel, an unshakable core of personal integrity and self-assuredness that external judgments cannot penetrate. Why is this important? Because too often we let the opinions of others shape our actions, our self-esteem, and even our destinies. We might change how we act, dress, or even think based on how we believe others perceive us or expect us to behave. But here's the transformative idea. Their opinions do not define your reality. Only you have that power. Each time you remind yourself that external opinions do not sway you, you reclaim a piece of your autonomy. Staying committed to your path means recognizing the value of your own judgments and convictions over the noise of the crowd. It means deciding who you are and who you want to be, then living true to that identity, regardless of external pressures or criticisms. This isn't about disregarding all forms of feedback or living in isolation from the thoughts and feelings of others. Rather, it's about discerning which voices contribute to your growth and which detract from it. Maintaining your inner citadel requires more than just ignoring what others say. It involves building a robust sense of self that resonates with your deepest values and aspirations. It means fortifying yourself with wisdom, compassion, and resilience so that when you encounter criticism or praise, you can accept it gracefully without letting it destabilize your sense of self. Let your actions reflect your true self, not a version molded by external expectations. When you live authentically, aligned with your personal values and goals, you become a beacon for others. You inspire those around you to also seek their paths and stand firm against the often overwhelming tide of societal judgment. Stoicism teaches us the value of anchoring ourselves in the present. "I embrace the present moment" is a powerful affirmation that carries the essence of living fully and mindfully. By adopting this mindset, we engage more deeply with life as it unfolds, moment by moment. When you commit to embracing the present, you're choosing to let go of past regrets and future anxieties. This isn't about ignoring the past or neglecting the future, but rather about focusing your energy and attention on the now, where life actually happens. It's about recognizing that dwelling excessively on what has been or what might be can steal joy from the current moment. Each time you remind yourself to embrace the present, you're consciously deciding not to let the shadows of yesterday or the echoes of tomorrow distract you from the vibrancy of today. This philosophy helps cultivate a mindset that is resilient and grounded. You learn to appreciate each moment for what it offers, learning from the past without being chained to it, and planning for the future without being consumed by it. This balance is what Stoicism aims to achieve: equanimity amidst life's inevitable ups and downs. When you live in the present, you enhance your ability to respond to these fluctuations with a clear mind and a steady heart. Embracing the present also improves your responsiveness to life's challenges. Instead of reacting out of fear or habit, you act with intention and purpose. This is because your mind is not scattered across different times and places. It is focused here, sharp and ready to deal with situations as they arise. This focus enhances your creativity, your problem-solving skills, and your ability to communicate with others. You become more attuned to the subtle nuances of interactions and environments, making wiser decisions and forging deeper connections. Moreover, when you embrace the present, you engage more fully with the people around you. You listen better, notice more, and participate actively. This can lead to richer, more satisfying relationships, both personally and professionally. It also allows you to enjoy the simple pleasures of life, whether it's the taste of your morning coffee, the feel of sunlight on your skin, or the laughter of a loved one. These moments might seem small, but they are profound in their impact on our overall well-being. Thank you for joining me today on Stoic Journal. Remember, the power to live a truly enriching life lies in embracing each moment as it comes. Keep practicing this daily and see how much more vivid and meaningful your life becomes. Life is full of challenges, and sometimes it feels like everything is spinning out of control. But what if I told you there's a way to remain calm, strong, and unshakable no matter what life throws at you? That's the power of Stoicism. For centuries, the ancient Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus mastered the art of inner peace, and their teachings are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. In a world that constantly tests your limits, Stoicism gives you the tools to rise above the chaos and live a life of purpose and resilience. Whether it's dealing with stress, managing relationships, or finding your path, the Stoic mindset can transform the way you approach everything. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed or stuck, this is the moment to take control. Today, I'm sharing practical Stoic strategies to help you level up your life step by step. Before we get started, if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple free favor I'll ask from you is to hit that subscribe button and don't skip any part of the video because every strategy builds on the last. Let's dive in. Strategy 1. Make yourself a priority. I know what you might be thinking. Life's busy. You've got responsibilities, people to take care of, work piling up. But here's the truth. If you don't make yourself a priority, no one else will. You've probably heard the phrase, "You can't pour from an empty cup," right? Well, it's true. If you're constantly putting yourself last, eventually you'll run out of energy, focus, and even motivation. Making yourself a priority doesn't mean being selfish. It means making sure you're in the best shape, physically, mentally, and emotionally, to show up fully for the people and things that matter to you. Start small. Take a few minutes each morning just for yourself. Whether that's meditating, writing down your goals, or simply taking a deep breath and setting an intention for the day, it's your time. Begin with self-affirmations. Yeah, I know. It can feel awkward standing in front of the mirror and saying, "I am worthy," or "I rise above challenges." But trust me, over time, your mind starts to believe what you repeatedly tell it. This isn't just about feeling good in the moment. It's about rewiring your brain for long-term resilience and confidence. Another crucial part of making yourself a priority is setting boundaries. We all have people or situations that drain our energy, and learning to say no to what doesn't serve you is a game changer. It frees up space for the things that actually matter, the things that energize and inspire you. You're not a backup character in your own story. When you prioritize yourself, you create the foundation for everything else in your life to thrive. And guess what? The better you take care of yourself, the more you can give back to others. It's a win-win. So today, start asking yourself, How can I make my needs a priority? And what small steps can I take to make sure I'm not running on empty? Strategy 2. Enhance your appearance. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this is all about vanity, stick with me. There's a lot more depth here than you might realize. Enhancing your appearance isn't about conforming to society's beauty standards or obsessing over every little detail. It's about showing up as the best version of yourself, and that starts with how you present yourself to the world. Think about it. When you feel good about how you look, it boosts your confidence. And when you're confident, you walk a little taller, speak with more assurance, and approach challenges with more strength. It's not just about looking sharp, it's about feeling sharp. But here's the key. This isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. Find a style that feels like you, whether that's a sleek suit, a casual vibe, or something totally unique. It's about wearing what makes you feel comfortable and confident. Your personal style is an extension of who you are, and when you align your outer appearance with how you feel inside, everything clicks. And let's not forget the simple things: regular grooming, keeping your clothes neat, standing up straight. These small details send a message, not just to the world, but to yourself, that you respect who you are. This isn't about spending a ton of money or keeping up with trends. It's about self-respect. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and your appearance is one of those things. When you take care of yourself on the outside, it often reflects how you're feeling on the inside. And trust me, this isn't about trying to impress others. It's about how you show up for yourself. When you dress in a way that feels true to who you are, you reinforce your sense of self-worth. You're telling yourself and the world, I'm here and I'm ready. So, take a moment to think. How can you enhance your appearance in a way that feels right for you? Maybe it's trying a new hairstyle or simply paying a little more attention to the way you carry yourself. Whatever it is, make it a reflection of the confidence you're building inside. Strategy 3. Keep a smile on your face. I get it. Some days are tough, and the last thing you might feel like doing is smiling. But here's the thing. Your smile is more powerful than you realize. It's not just about looking friendly. Smiling actually has a direct impact on your mood and your brain chemistry. When you smile, even if you're not feeling particularly happy, your brain releases feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. It's like a little mood boost that you can trigger anytime. And the best part, it works even if you have to fake it at first. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should walk around grinning like everything's perfect when it's not. Stoicism teaches us that life isn't about ignoring challenges, but about controlling our responses to them. Smiling in difficult situations doesn't mean you're pretending everything is fine. It means you're choosing your attitude in the face of adversity. It's about deciding to bring a bit of positivity into your day, no matter what's going on around you. That little smile can shift your mindset and help you stay calm and focused when things get rough. Here's where it gets even better. Your smile has a ripple effect. When you smile at someone, they're likely to smile back, even if they don't realize it. It's contagious. Think about how a simple smile from a stranger can brighten your day. You have that same power to spread positivity, whether it's at work, with friends, or even during a stressful situation. And hey, smiling even changes the way you sound. Try it next time you're on the phone. People can actually hear the difference in your voice when you're smiling. So, how do you make this a habit? Start your day with a smile, even before you get out of bed. Smile in the mirror when you're getting ready, and try to find moments throughout the day to smile, even if it's just at yourself. Over time, it becomes natural. Remember, smiling isn't about ignoring life's challenges. It's about tackling them with the strength and positivity that Stoicism teaches us. A smile is one of the simplest, most effective tools you have, so use it. Trust me, it can make a bigger difference than you think. Strategy 4. Maintain a sense of kindness while limiting contact. Here's the reality. There are always going to be people in your life who drain your energy or who don't have your best interests at heart. It could be a co-worker, a distant friend, or even a family member. But here's the key. Just because someone is difficult or negative doesn't mean you have to be. You can stay kind while protecting your peace by setting boundaries. Stoicism teaches us to remain calm and centered, no matter how others behave. And part of that means knowing when to step back. Being kind doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Kindness is about showing respect to others and yourself. You can be kind and still say no when someone is asking too much of you. You can wish someone well but keep them at arm's length if they're constantly negative or draining your energy. It's a balance between staying true to your values and protecting your own well-being. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time or your emotions, especially if it's costing you your peace. Here's how you do it. Set clear boundaries with people. You don't have to explain yourself or feel guilty for putting your needs first. It's okay to limit contact with those who are toxic or constantly draining you. That doesn't mean you're being harsh or unkind. It just means you're choosing to spend your energy wisely. Stoicism teaches us that we can only control ourselves, not others. And sometimes the best way to stay in control is to limit our exposure to people who bring negativity into our lives. The beautiful thing about maintaining kindness while setting boundaries is that it actually helps you avoid unnecessary conflict. You're not lashing out or being defensive. You're calmly and respectfully protecting your own space. When you do that, you not only protect your energy but also set an example for others. People will start to understand that your kindness doesn't mean you'll always say yes or tolerate negativity. So the next time you feel drained by someone's presence or overwhelmed by their demands, remind yourself that it's okay to limit contact. Stay kind, but keep your distance when necessary. After all, Stoicism isn't about cutting people off. It's about managing your relationships in a way that brings out the best in both you and the people around you. Boundaries are an act of self-care, and when you take care of yourself, you're in a better position to show genuine kindness to others. Strategy 5. Remain calm in stressful situations. We've all been there. Deadlines are looming, your phone won't stop buzzing, and it feels like everything is piling up at once. It's easy to let stress take over, but here's the thing. Staying calm in the middle of chaos is your superpower. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control external events, we have complete control over how we respond to them. Stressful situations are going to happen, but how you react to them, that's entirely within your hands. When you stay calm, you keep your mind clear and your emotions in check, and that's when you make your best decisions. Think about it. When you're panicking or overwhelmed, it's hard to think straight, right? But when you take a deep breath, slow things down, and focus on what you can control, you suddenly gain a sense of clarity. One of the easiest ways to tap into this calmness is through your breath. Seriously, the next time you feel stress creeping in, try this. Take a deep breath in for 4 counts, hold it for 4, and then exhale for 4. You'll be amazed at how something so simple can instantly calm your nerves. Another powerful Stoic technique is to reframe the situation. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Often the answer is no. By putting the situation in perspective, you can immediately reduce its power over you. Sure, it might be stressful in the moment, but if it's not going to have a long-term impact, is it really worth getting worked up about? When you zoom out like that, it helps to remind you of what's really important and what you can let go of. One of the core ideas in Stoicism is to focus on what's within your control. In any stressful situation, there's always a part of it you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. You can't control if the project deadline gets moved up, but you can control how you manage your time. You can't control if someone else is being difficult, but you can control how you respond to them. By channeling your energy into the things you can influence, you stop wasting energy on things that are outside of your control. Remaining calm doesn't mean you're ignoring the stress or pretending everything is fine. It means you're choosing to face the stress with a clear, focused mind. It's about being steady when things around you are unstable. And let me tell you, people notice when you stay calm under pressure. They trust you more, they're drawn to your calm energy, and they look to you for guidance. So, the next time life throws you into a stressful situation, pause, breathe, and focus on what's within your power. Not only will you handle the situation better, but you'll also feel more in control of your own mind and emotions, just like the Stoics taught. Strategy 6. Set your course. In a world that's constantly trying to tell you what to do, who to be, and how to live, setting your own course is an act of rebellion. It's about taking control of your life and steering it in the direction you want, not where others are pushing you. But here's the thing. Setting your course isn't just about chasing your dreams or doing whatever feels good in the moment. It's about aligning your life with your values, those things that matter to you on a deeper level. So, the first step? Get clear on what your core values are. What really matters to you? Is it freedom, creativity, family, growth? Whatever it is, those values become your compass. They help guide your decisions and keep you grounded when things get tough. If you're not sure what your values are, take some time to think about the moments when you felt most fulfilled or proud of yourself. Chances are, those experiences were in line with your core values. Once you know what truly drives you, it's easier to stay on course because you're not being swayed by distractions or other people's expectations. Next, set goals that are true to you. And I'm not talking about goals that look good on paper or goals that others think you should have. I mean authentic, meaningful goals that get you excited and align with your values. Success looks different for everyone, and it's easy to get caught up chasing someone else's version of it. But Stoicism teaches us to live according to our own principles, not society's expectations. So ask yourself, what does success look like for you? What do you want your life to look like 5 or 10 years from now? Here's the thing, setting your course isn't always comfortable. It often means stepping out of your comfort zone and embracing the unknown. Growth happens when you challenge yourself, and that can feel pretty uncomfortable at times. But here's where Stoicism comes in. Stoics remind us that discomfort is where real growth happens. The obstacles you face? They're not roadblocks. They're opportunities to get better, stronger, and more resilient. So when you're charting your own course, be prepared to embrace some discomfort along the way. It's all part of the process. And don't forget, this is a journey, not a race. Setting your course doesn't mean you have to figure everything out right now or have every step planned perfectly. Life changes, and so will your path. The important thing is to keep moving forward, stay curious, and be willing to adapt when necessary. Keep learning, keep growing, and be open to the idea that your course might shift as you discover more about yourself and the world around you. Trust your gut. While it's great to get advice from others, no one knows you better than you do. Your intuition is often a reflection of your values, experiences, and goals, so learn to trust it. The Stoics believed that wisdom comes from within, and that's something you should carry with you as you set your course. You have the ability to navigate your own life, and when you stay true to who you are, you'll find that the path you create is the one that leads to the most fulfillment. So, take the wheel, set your course, and steer your life in the direction that feels right for you. Strategy 7. Make your stand. This one is all about standing firm in who you are and what you believe in, and trust me, in today's world, that takes courage. Everywhere you turn, someone is telling you how you should think, what you should care about, and how you should live your life. But the Stoics teach us that true strength comes from within, and making your stand is about holding on to your values, even when it feels like the whole world is pulling you in another direction. Making your stand starts with knowing your values inside and out. What matters most to you? What are your non-negotiables? It could be honesty, loyalty, personal growth, or anything else that feels core to who you are. Once you're crystal clear on your values, it becomes easier to make decisions and take action that aligns with them. It's like having a solid foundation. No matter what happens around you, you know where you stand, and when challenges or disagreements arise, you don't get shaken as easily because you're grounded in something deeper than just what's happening in the moment. But here's the thing, making your stand isn't always about shouting your beliefs from the rooftops or getting into debates with people who disagree. Sometimes it's as simple as living in a way that reflects your values. Your actions speak louder than words. If honesty is one of your values, live that in your daily life. If kindness, even when it's hard, people notice when someone walks their talk, and that kind of integrity can be more powerful than any argument or speech. And let's be real, sometimes standing firm in your beliefs means standing alone. That can be tough. We all want to feel accepted, and it's easy to go along with. But Stoicism teaches us that it's better to be true to yourself and your values than to fit in at the cost of your integrity. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." It's a reminder that growth and strength often come from moments when you're willing to stand out, even if it makes you unpopular or misunderstood. You don't have to fight every battle, though. Part of making your stand is knowing when to speak up and when to let things go. Not every situation requires you to dig in your heels. Pick your battles wisely. Focus on the ones that truly matter to you. It's okay to let small things slide if they don't compromise your core values. The Stoics remind us to conserve our energy for the things that really count, and that's a skill worth mastering. So, how do you start making your stand? Begin by getting clear on what you believe in. Then, make small, consistent choices that reflect those beliefs. Over time, you'll find that your actions become an unshakable reflection of your values, and that kind of strength and consistency is magnetic. People will respect you more, not just for what you believe, but for how you live those beliefs every day. And more importantly, you'll respect yourself more. So, plant your feet firmly, know what you stand for, and don't be afraid to live it, even if that means standing alone sometimes. Strategy 8. Nurture your wit. This one might seem a little surprising in a conversation about Stoicism, but humor and wit are incredibly powerful tools in life, especially when things get tough. The Stoics knew this, and while they're often seen as serious and reserved, they understood the importance of maintaining a light touch. Life can be heavy, no doubt, but nurturing your sense of humor helps you navigate challenges with grace and resilience. It's not about being a comedian or making others laugh all the time. It's about cultivating a perspective that allows you to see the lighter side of things, even when everything feels overwhelming. One of the best ways to nurture your wit is to learn to laugh at yourself. We all take ourselves a little too seriously at times, and being able to poke fun at your own quirks or mistakes shows confidence. It disarms others, puts them at ease, and Most importantly, it keeps you from getting bogged down by your own ego. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "He who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at." It's a reminder that when you can find humor in your own imperfections, life doesn't feel quite so heavy. A sense of humor also helps you keep things in perspective. When you train yourself to notice the absurdities of everyday life, the little ironies and contradictions, it becomes easier to shrug off the things that don't really matter. For example, getting stuck in traffic can either ruin your day or be something you laugh about. Maybe you missed your morning coffee and feel grumpy. Instead of spiraling into frustration, find the humor in how ridiculous it feels to let something so small impact your mood. It's all about shifting your mindset. Timing is also a key part of wit. Not every situation calls for a joke, but knowing when to inject a little humor can lighten the mood, diffuse tension, and even build stronger connections with others. Think about how much easier difficult conversations are when there's a bit of humor involved. It doesn't make the issue disappear, but it makes it more manageable. Humor shows that you're not taking everything so seriously that it breaks you. It demonstrates flexibility, and that's something people are drawn to. But here's the thing, humor doesn't just help in social situations. It's also a great coping mechanism for personal challenges. When you're going through a tough time, finding something to laugh about in the middle of it. It doesn't mean you're ignoring your problems. It means you're choosing to face them with a little more lightness. So how do you start nurturing your wit? Begin by observing the world around you. Life is full of odd, funny moments if you're paying attention. Read widely. Different styles of writing, humor, and even philosophy. Exposure to different perspectives will help you develop your own unique brand of wit. Practice not taking yourself too seriously, and embrace those little moments where you can find humor, even in the challenges. Remember, wit isn't about being the funniest person in the room, it's about maintaining a perspective that helps you stay resilient. Life is serious enough. Having a sense of humor is a way to stay balanced and grounded, even when things get tough. So go ahead, nurture that wit. It's a small but mighty tool that can help you navigate life's ups and downs with a smile. Strategy 9. Be respectful of everyone. This might sound like common sense, but respect is often overlooked in the fast-paced, sometimes self-centered world we live in. Stoicism places a lot of value on treating others with dignity and respect, regardless of their status, opinions, or actions. And here's why this matters. When you show respect to others, it not only elevates them, but also reflects positively on you. It's about recognizing the inherent worth in every person, no matter who they are or where they come from. Being respectful doesn't mean you have to agree with everyone, or even like everyone. It's more about acknowledging their right to their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. You don't have to share someone's beliefs to treat them with courtesy. In fact, some of the most meaningful connections happen when we disagree, but still listen and respect each other's perspectives. The Stoics remind us that we can't control how others act, but we can always control how we respond. Choosing to respond with respect is a reflection of your own character, not the other person's behavior. One of the easiest ways to show respect is simply by listening. In a world where everyone is talking, it's rare to find someone who genuinely listens. But when you do, it makes a huge impact. People feel valued when you take the time to hear them out, and in turn, they're more likely to show you respect as well. It's not just about waiting for your turn to speak, but about really understanding what the other person is saying. Respect often starts with the simple act of giving someone your full attention. Another important part of being respectful is learning to disagree without being disagreeable. We're not always going to see eye to eye with everyone, and that's okay. But how we handle those disagreements speaks volumes. You can stand your ground and stick to your beliefs without being rude or dismissive. It's all about how you communicate. The Stoics were masters at this. They believed in standing firm in their principles, but doing so with calmness and reason. Next time you find yourself in a disagreement, try to remain calm and focus on the issue, not the person. You'll find that respect can diffuse tension and lead to more productive conversations. Respect also shows up in the little things, being on time, acknowledging someone's effort, or even just saying thank you. These small gestures might seem insignificant, but they add up. They show that you value the other person's time, energy, and contributions. And here's the kicker: respect is a two-way street. When you treat others with respect, you create an environment where they're more likely to return that respect. It's a powerful way to build stronger, healthier relationships in both your personal and professional life. But remember, respect isn't about people-pleasing or being a pushover. It doesn't mean you allow others to disrespect you or trample over your boundaries. You can be firm and assertive while still being respectful. In fact, part of respecting others is also respecting yourself. Knowing when to stand up for yourself, when to set boundaries, and when to walk away from toxic situations. The Stoics believed in balance, and that includes balancing kindness and respect for others with self-respect. So, as you go through your day, look for opportunities to show respect in both big and small ways. Whether it's listening more attentively, showing up on time, or simply being polite in a difficult conversation, these acts of respect not only improve your relationships, but also make you a stronger, more grounded person. Stoicism teaches us that we're all part of a larger community, and when we respect one another, we help strengthen the bonds that keep us connected. In the end, being respectful of everyone isn't just about them. It's about creating a better, more thoughtful version of yourself. Strategy 10. Set clear parameters. Setting boundaries, or parameters, is all about knowing where your limits are and making sure others understand them too. It's easy to get caught up in trying to please everyone or overextending yourself, but without clear boundaries, you'll eventually burn out. Stoicism teaches us the importance of protecting our inner peace and focusing on what we can control. And setting clear parameters is one of the best ways to maintain that sense of control. The first step is knowing your own limits. What are you comfortable with? What are your non-negotiables? Maybe it's about how much time you spend on work, how you expect to be treated in relationships, or even simple things like not checking emails after a certain hour. Knowing your limits helps you stay aligned with your values and prevents you from taking on more than you can handle. It's about creating space for yourself to thrive, not just survive. And let's be honest, if you don't set boundaries, people will naturally push them, often without realizing it. Communicating those boundaries is key. You can't expect people to know where your lines are if you don't tell them, whether it's a work situation, a friendship, or a family dynamic. Be clear about what you're okay with and what you're not. And here's the thing: you don't have to explain or justify your boundaries. A simple, respectful no or "this doesn't work for me" is enough. When you communicate your parameters clearly, you're not being rude. You're being respectful of your own needs and energy. And most people will respect you for being upfront, even if it feels a little uncomfortable at first. One of the hardest parts of setting clear parameters is consistency. You've got to stick to the boundaries you set, or they won't mean much. If you're constantly shifting your boundaries, saying yes to things you don't want to do, or letting people cross lines you've set, it not only confuses others, but it also erodes your own sense of control. Consistency builds trust, both with yourself and with others. When you hold firm on your boundaries, People know where you stand, and over time they'll learn to respect those limits. It's not about being rigid, it's about being reliable and true to your own values. Remember, boundaries go both ways. Just as you want others to respect your limits, it's important to respect theirs too. We all have different comfort zones and capacities, and recognizing that in others helps to build stronger, healthier relationships. This mutual respect is what creates balanced, positive interactions with the people around you. And don't forget, saying no isn't selfish, it's self-care. Sometimes we feel guilty for setting boundaries, especially if it means disappointing someone. But Stoicism reminds us that we can't control how others react. We can only control our actions. If setting a boundary makes you feel more at peace, more focused, or more in line with your priorities, then it's the right decision, regardless of how others might feel about it in the moment. In the long run, everyone benefits when you're clear about what you can and can't do. You're less likely to overcommit, feel overwhelmed, or harbor resentment, and that makes you more present and effective in the things you do say yes to. So here's the takeaway. Boundaries aren't walls that shut people out. They're guidelines that help you protect your time, energy, and peace of mind. They allow you to give your best self to the people and projects that truly matter. Start by identifying one area of your life where you need to set clearer parameters and take action. It could be as simple as not checking work emails after a certain time, or as big as establishing boundaries in a challenging relationship. Whatever it is, make sure it reflects your values and priorities, and don't be afraid to enforce it. In the end, setting clear parameters is one of the best ways to show respect for yourself and others. Strategy 11. Cut out negative energy. This might be one of the most important things you can do to level up your life. Negative energy can come from many sources: people, habits, environments, even your own thoughts. And if you're not careful, it can drain you faster than anything else. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of the things that don't serve us. Cutting out negative energy is about reclaiming your mental space and creating room for positivity, growth, and resilience. Start by taking a good, honest look at the people around you. Who lifts you up? Who drains you? Sometimes we hold on to relationships out of obligation or habit, but if someone is constantly bringing negativity into your life, it might be time to reevaluate how much access they have to your energy. This doesn't mean you need to cut people out completely, but you can set boundaries or limit your contact with those who aren't adding value to your life. The Stoics were all about quality over quantity when it came to relationships. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you in a positive way, and support your growth. But negative energy isn't just about other people. It can also come from within. Pay attention to your self-talk. Are you constantly doubting yourself, criticizing your actions, or expecting the worst? That's negative energy too. One of the most powerful things you can do is challenge those negative thoughts when they pop up. Flip the script. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, shift your focus to what could go right. Remind yourself of your strengths and be mindful of the language you use with yourself. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of controlling our internal world, and that starts with recognizing and reworking those negative thought patterns. Another source of negative energy can be your environment. Take a look around. Does your space make you feel calm and productive, or is it cluttered and chaotic? Sometimes a messy or disorganized environment can contribute to stress and negative feelings without us even realizing it. Decluttering your physical space can help clear your mind too. Create an environment that reflects the energy you want to bring into your life. Even small changes, like cleaning up your workspace or organizing your home, can make a big difference in how you feel every day. And then there are the habits. Negative energy loves to hide in time-wasting activities and unhealthy routines. Whether it's scrolling endlessly through social media, procrastinating, or neglecting your health, these habits slowly chip away at your mental and physical well-being. The key is to be intentional about where you spend your time and energy. Take an inventory of your daily habits. What's adding value and what's just draining you? Cut out what's not serving you and replace it with something more positive, like reading, exercising, or simply taking time to rest and recharge. Cutting out negative energy isn't about creating a perfect, problem-free life. It's about being intentional with your energy and focusing on the things that bring out the best in you. Sometimes that means making tough decisions, letting go of toxic relationships, breaking bad habits, or confronting your own negative thoughts. But the payoff is huge. When you clear out the negativity, you create space for growth, positivity, and a sense of peace. The Stoics believed that the quality of your life is directly tied to your ability to manage what's within your control. Negative energy might not always be something you can avoid, but how you deal with it is completely up to you. By cutting out what doesn't serve you, you free up your energy to focus on what truly matters. So, take a moment to reflect. What's the biggest source of negative energy in your life right now, and what can you do to start cutting it out? Remember, small steps lead to big changes, and by removing negativity, you're making room for a more focused, fulfilling life. Before we wrap up, remember this: your life is shaped by what you allow and what you cut out. Every decision you make to prioritize yourself, set boundaries, and protect your energy brings you one step closer to becoming the best version of yourself. You have the power to control how you respond to life, and that's where true strength lies. Life will test you. You will face setbacks, disappointments, and moments where you feel like everything is against you. That's a guarantee. But here's the real question: how do you respond? Do you let life break you? Or do you use those challenges to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient? Today we're tapping into Stoicism, a philosophy that transforms life's biggest obstacles into stepping stones. If you're feeling the weight of the world, you're in the right place. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, hitting that subscribe button is a simple, free way you can support us. Don't skip any part of today's video. Each piece of advice could be exactly what you need to turn things around. Stick with us. Let's grow together and forge an unbreakable spirit. Habit 1. Embrace change like a pro. Change is one of life's constants, yet for many of us, it's also one of the biggest sources of stress. Why do we struggle with something that is as natural as the changing seasons? The answer lies not in the changes themselves, but in our reactions to them. Stoicism, a philosophy known for promoting resilience and calm in the face of adversity, offers a powerful approach to embracing change. When life throws something new or unexpected our way, our first instinct might be resistance. This resistance comes from fear, the fear of the unknown, fear of loss, or fear of failure. But what if, instead of resisting, we leaned into the change? Imagine how much energy we'd save and how much more peace we'd feel if we accepted change as part of the journey, not as an interruption. Stoicism teaches us to see change not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth and learning. Consider the Stoic concept of amor fati, which translates to love of fate. This doesn't mean we have to be passive or simply resign ourselves to whatever happens. Rather, it's about a proactive love of whatever life brings. It means saying, whatever happens, I can work with this. It's a mindset that turns potential obstacles into opportunities. When you embrace change in this way, you align yourself with the flow of life, reducing internal conflict and increasing your capacity to handle whatever comes next. Moreover, Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing only on what is within our control. While we can't control when or how change happens, we can control our response to it. This is where the real power lies. By focusing on our responses, we reclaim control over our emotional landscape and open ourselves up to the full spectrum of experiences life offers. This doesn't mean the changes will always be easy or comfortable, but our response can make the journey less turbulent and more enriching. In practice, embracing change like a pro means developing flexibility in your thoughts and actions. It's about preparing to be unprepared, staying calm in the face of the unknown, and pivoting when necessary. It's about not holding on to past versions of yourself or outdated dreams, but instead constantly updating your understanding of who you are and what you can become. This can be as simple as adjusting your daily routine in response to new demands, or as profound as changing your career path or personal relationships in pursuit of authenticity and fulfillment. One practical step you can take is to regularly reflect on your experiences, especially challenging ones, to find lessons and insights. Ask yourself questions like, what is this situation teaching me? Or, how can I grow from this? These reflections can help solidify the habit of viewing change as a normal and beneficial part of life, rather than something to dread. Habit 2. Master your emotions. Don't let them master you. Ever found yourself in the heat of an argument where words just fly out before you even get a chance to think? Or maybe you've been so overwhelmed by fear or excitement that it feels like your emotions are calling the shots, not you. We've all been there, and while it's perfectly human to feel deeply, letting emotions dictate your actions can lead you into chaos. This is where the ancient wisdom of Stoicism can be a game changer. Stoicism doesn't tell us to suppress our feelings. Rather, it teaches us to understand and manage them so they don't overpower our rational mind. The goal is to create a kind of mental fortitude that allows you to face life's ups and downs with composure and insight. The Stoics believed that by mastering our emotions, we can maintain our inner peace, even in external chaos. They remind us that we have the ability to choose our responses to the feelings we experience. Let's break it down. Imagine you're faced with a situation that typically triggers anger or anxiety. The Stoic approach would have you first acknowledge that you're feeling this way. This is crucial because recognition is the first step towards transformation. Once you've identified the emotion, the next step is to question its origin and validity. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Is my reaction proportionate to the situation? Often you'll find that the intensity of your emotion doesn't quite match the reality of the event. Another powerful Stoic strategy is to pause before reacting. This pause is your powerful tool. It's a moment of choice. In that brief gap between stimulus and response lies your freedom to choose a more considered, rational reaction. This doesn't mean you won't feel the emotion. You simply prevent it from leading to impulsive actions. For instance, if someone cuts you off in traffic, your immediate impulse might be to honk angrily or shout. Instead, a Stoic would take a deep breath, recognize the surge of anger, and choose a calmer, more measured response, perhaps dismissing the event as trivial in the grand scheme of life. This practice of managing responses doesn't just apply to negative emotions. Even overwhelming joy or excitement can cloud our judgment, leading to decisions we might later regret. The key is balance. By maintaining a steady emotional state, we ensure that our decisions are guided by wisdom and clarity, not by fleeting feelings. To really master this habit, it helps to engage in regular self-reflection. Reflect on times when you let your emotions control you and consider how you might handle similar situations differently in the future. This can be done through journaling, meditation, or simply thoughtful contemplation. The idea is to build a habit of mindful awareness around your emotional life. Stoicism also teaches us about the impermanence of emotions. They come and go like waves on the shore. By remembering this, we can avoid getting too attached to or too disturbed by any particular feeling. We can observe our emotions without getting swept away by them. Habit 3. Set ironclad boundaries. You know how it feels when you're stretched too thin? Maybe you've found yourself agreeing to help with another project at work, even though your plate is already overflowing. Or you've said yes to a social event you're dreading because you felt too guilty to say no. We've all been there. But here's the thing. Spreading yourself too thin doesn't do you or anyone else any favors. This is where the Stoic principle of setting strong boundaries comes into play, teaching us that guarding our time and energy isn't just smart, it's necessary for our well-being. Stoicism teaches the importance of living according to nature, which includes understanding and respecting our own limits. Just as nature has its boundaries, the shore that stops the sea, the bark that shields the tree, so too must we define and defend our personal boundaries. These boundaries aren't about building walls, they're about defining where your responsibilities end and where your peace begins. Setting boundaries is really about understanding what you value most and making a commitment to protect that. For example, if one of your top values is family time, setting a boundary might mean not checking work emails during dinner. If personal growth is a priority, perhaps you set a boundary around morning time to read or meditate. The key here is that these aren't just preferences, they're non-negotiable parts of your day that enable you to live according to your values. The act of setting boundaries can often feel uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to asserting your needs. You might worry about how others will react or fear being seen as selfish, but remember, Stoicism isn't about pleasing others or meeting societal expectations. It's about living a life of virtue and personal integrity. The Stoics would argue that by respecting your own limits, you're better equipped to fulfill your role in society and contribute in more meaningful ways. To start setting effective boundaries, begin with small, manageable changes. Communicate your limits clearly and respectfully without feeling the need to over-explain or justify them. It's enough to say, "I'm not available at that time," or "I need to pass on this project to focus on my current responsibilities." As you practice, you'll find it becomes easier, and most people will respect your clarity and honesty. Another Stoic strategy is to regularly reflect on your interactions and how they align with your boundaries. Consider the times you felt resentment or exhaustion. These emotions are often signals that your boundaries are being violated. Use these insights to adjust your boundaries as needed, always with the goal of preserving your time and energy for what truly matters. Ultimately, setting boundaries is about taking responsibility for your life and your happiness. It's a powerful assertion of your worth and priorities. And while it might be challenging at first, the more you practice, the more natural it will feel. Over time, you'll notice a profound shift in your stress levels and overall happiness. You'll have more energy for the things you love, deeper connections with others, and a greater sense of control over your life. So remember, setting boundaries is not just a practical skill, it's a Stoic practice that enhances your ability to live a purposeful and peaceful life. By honoring your needs and limits, you're not only respecting yourself, but also setting the stage for healthier, more respectful relationships with others. Habit 4. Take ownership of your life. It's tempting, isn't it? When things go wrong, maybe a project fails or a relationship falters, It's easy to point the finger at circumstances or other people. We've all been there, shaking our heads and saying, if only things had been different. But here's a game-changing thought. What if, instead of blaming external factors, we took a step back and looked at our own role in the situation? This is what Stoicism nudges us towards, taking ownership of our lives, not through blame, but through responsibility. Stoicism teaches us the power of focusing solely on what we can control. While the world may be unpredictable and often challenging, our reactions and actions remain our responsibility. This might sound a bit daunting at first, but there's incredible strength and freedom in realizing that you are the chief architect of your life. When you start taking ownership, you move from a passive state where things happen to you to an active state where you create your own path. Taking ownership means acknowledging that your decisions, your reactions, and your mindset all play a crucial role in how your life unfolds. For instance, if you're unhappy in your job, rather than lamenting your bad luck in landing that position, explore what actions you can take. Could you seek new skills, apply for a new role, or even discuss with your manager about changes that could improve your situation? The Stoic approach is not about resignation, but about proactive engagement with life's challenges. A key part of this is also owning your mistakes. We all make them, and frankly, it's one of the most human things about us. However, the difference lies in how we handle these slip-ups. Do we ignore them, blame others, or do we face them head-on, learn from them, and grow? The Stoics would advocate for the latter. They saw every mistake as an opportunity to learn, a stepping stone to becoming a wiser, more capable person. Moreover, taking ownership also means managing your expectations. Stoics practice what's called premeditation of evils, a technique where you mentally anticipate potential challenges and setbacks. This isn't about pessimism. Rather, it's about preparing yourself for the realities of life so that when difficulties arise, they don't derail you. Instead, you're ready to meet them with resilience and a clear head. But how do you start implementing this in your everyday life? Begin by regularly reflecting on your day or week. Ask yourself, what went well and why? What didn't go well, and how did I contribute to that outcome? What can I do differently next time? This reflection isn't about self-judgment. It's about self-improvement and empowerment. It's about taking the reins of your life and steering it in the direction you want to go. Remember, taking ownership is a daily practice. It's a series of choices you make every day. Each time you choose to take responsibility for your actions, you strengthen your ability to shape your life's narrative. You build resilience, confidence, and a deep-seated peace that comes from knowing you are living with integrity and purpose. So, next time you find yourself in a challenging situation, pause and remind yourself, I have the power to choose how this goes. I can't control everything, but I can always control what I do next. This mindset is not just transformative, it's fundamentally stoic, placing you firmly in the driver's seat of your life. And that's a place of real power. Habit 5. Practice self-compassion. Have you ever noticed how harshly we can judge ourselves? We often hold ourselves to impossible standards, and when we inevitably fall short, the inner critic has a field day. You messed up, you're not good enough, why even try? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? But here's a refreshing thought. What if we treated ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we offer to a good friend? This is where the concept of self-compassion comes into play, and it's something that, believe it or not, is deeply embedded in Stoic philosophy. Stoicism might seem all about toughness, but at its core, it's also about being kind to oneself through rational thinking. The Stoics understood that to err is human, and that beating ourselves up over mistakes serves no one. Instead, they advocate for observing ourselves with objectivity and treating failures as valuable learning opportunities. Self-compassion, in this sense, is about shifting from a mindset of criticism to one of encouragement and support. Practicing self-compassion starts with changing how we talk to ourselves. Imagine a scenario where you've made a mistake. Instead of spiraling into self-critique, pause and ask yourself, what would I say to a friend in this situation? You'd likely offer words of comfort or encouragement. Now, offer those words to yourself. This simple shift can significantly change your emotional response. It helps to reduce anxiety and depression, making way for a healthier and more optimistic outlook on life. Moreover, self-compassion involves recognizing that suffering and personal failure are part of the shared human experience. You are not alone in your struggles, even though it often feels that way. Everyone faces setbacks. By acknowledging this shared human experience, you can feel more connected to others in moments of failure rather than isolated by them. This perspective is a cornerstone of Stoic thought. They emphasize the interconnectedness of human experience and encourage bearing life's challenges with dignity and grace. Another important aspect of self-compassion is mindfulness. This means being present with your feelings without over-identifying with them. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our negative thoughts and emotions with detachment, as if we are a third party looking in. From this viewpoint, we can see our feelings for what they are, temporary and not defining of our worth or capabilities. The Stoics were big on using mindfulness to maintain emotional equilibrium by focusing on the present and taking a logical view of events and their impact. To cultivate self-compassion, try setting aside time for regular reflection. Reflect on your day and identify moments when you were hard on yourself. Consider how you might handle similar situations in the future with more kindness. Additionally, integrating practices like journaling or meditation can enhance your awareness and ability to apply self-compassion in real-time challenges. Practicing self-compassion isn't about coddling yourself. It's about acknowledging your humanity, your imperfections included, and treating yourself with the same respect and kindness you would show others. It's about being your own ally in times of struggle, which aligns closely with Stoic teachings about self-mastery and resilience. So next time you catch yourself being your own worst critic, remember to extend to yourself the compassion you would to a friend. This shift not only improves your relationship with yourself, but also enhances your overall resilience, allowing you to face life's challenges with greater calm and confidence. Habit 6. Never stop learning. Isn't it true that the more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know? This realization isn't meant to discourage us. Rather, it's meant to ignite a curiosity and an appreciation for the limitless knowledge that life has to offer. That's the heart of a truly lifelong learning journey. It's not about filling a bucket, but lighting a fire of curiosity, understanding, and continuous growth. This is a principle deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy, where the pursuit of wisdom is considered essential to living a good life. Stoics believe that education doesn't stop at graduation. It extends through every day of our lives. They view every experience, both successes and setbacks, as opportunities to gain wisdom and strength. For them, the process of learning is about continually adapting and refining one's character and understanding of the world. It's about being open to new ideas, perspectives, and challenges that can reshape what we think we know. Imagine you're faced with a situation that completely throws you off your game. Maybe it's a new role at work that feels way over your head, or perhaps it's a personal challenge that tests your limits. The Stoic approach isn't to shy away from these moments, but to lean into them. They see such challenges as the perfect classroom, real-life situations where theoretical knowledge is put to the test and practical wisdom is developed. To embrace this mindset, start viewing every day as a school day. Ask yourself what lessons you can draw from each experience. Did a difficult conversation teach you something about patience or communication? What did a setback teach you about resilience or planning? Actively seeking the lesson in each experience helps to transform even the mundane into meaningful learning moments. Another key element is to remain humble about your knowledge. The Stoics warn against arrogance, emphasizing that true wisdom involves acknowledging the limits of one's knowledge. This humility opens you up to learning from everyone and every situation. It means listening more than you speak, asking questions, and being genuinely open to new information, even if it challenges your existing beliefs. To put this into practice, try diversifying the sources from which you learn. Read books from genres or authors you wouldn't usually consider. Engage in conversations with people from different backgrounds or with different viewpoints. Attend workshops or seminars on topics outside of your comfort zone. Each of these actions broadens your perspective and deepens your understanding of the world. Furthermore, Stoicism teaches us the importance of reflection in learning. It's not enough to simply consume information. You must also digest it and integrate it into your life. This could mean setting aside time each week to reflect on what you've learned and how it applies to your personal and professional life. Journaling can be a particularly effective tool here, allowing you to record insights and track your growth over time. Adopting a lifelong learning mindset is about more than acquiring knowledge. It's about continually evolving as a person. It's about becoming more adaptable, more thoughtful, and more effective in your actions and decisions. As you commit to never stopping your learning journey, you'll find that not only do you grow more knowledgeable, but you also grow more compassionate, understanding, and equipped to handle whatever life throws your way. So, keep that fire of curiosity burning. Let each day be an opportunity to learn something new, and let each lesson shape you into a better, more well-rounded individual. In the spirit of Stoicism, embrace the journey of lifelong learning as a pathway to personal excellence and a fulfilling life. And there you have it, the essence of living a Stoic life, continuously growing and learning from every experience. Remember, every day holds a lesson, every challenge a chance to evolve. Thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal. If you're eager to dive deeper into the wisdom of Stoicism, check out one of the suggested videos on your screen. Let's keep learning and growing together.